Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
Hey, we love this guy. And anytime we can get with him, it's like icing on the cake.
Oh, stop it.
Hey,
Go on with ya.
Yeah, thanks for Venmoing that money too for me. I appreciate that. It's Whit Shiller.
Both dollars should have arrived safe and sound.
All right.
How are you, buddy? Checking in with you. What's going on?
I'm doing all right. Just enjoying the 2020 ride.
It's a ride, all right.
Oh my gosh. I have a friend who put a list together of all the things of 2020. And I will say, I'm a little upset with ourselves as a society.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many things like the murder hornets. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, where did that come from?
Right.
Well, I don't know if you've heard the latest one. Meth gators. Have you heard this one?
No.
Okay,
Gators selling meth?
Starting to make the rounds a little bit that there are people dumping meth into the water supply in Tennessee, I guess. And that's getting the gators a little, methy. But I looked it up. That story goes back to 2019.
Okay.
Now someone is that we're getting messed with, which is probably true on like 100 of these things.
Yeah, probably.
But it's not been a good list. My favorite one on her list was adults discover TikTok.
Hey, I'm one of those. Okay, I admit it. Yes.
Are you doing videos?
Yeah. Well, I haven't recently, but I have done. Yes.
Okay.
With my children, it's a lot of
fun, and they love having it.
And they love it. Yeah.
Whit Shiller on Facebook Live with us today. Fish Sticks Comedy. If you go to the website, I was just on there, fishstickscomedy.com. There's a. I was going to call it a cartoon. It's not really a cartoon. It's a graphic. What do you call it? Whit. It's
animation.
Yeah, it's an animated little promo video kind of thing. It's a cartoon.
It's in-home delivery, just kind of a little short there, and then there's a bunch of the videos. Now, I was watching just a little while ago. My favorite, well, there's some really good ones, but my favorite's probably either the text the audience text one, or the translator one. Those two, very, very funny. I think we did text one time with you, didn't we, when you were in the studio? It just seems so long ago, but I don't know.
We haven't. And actually, we haven't translated that one to online yet.
Okay.
But that audience text one has been a crowd favorite since we introduced it. I think like 4 years ago, and then Whose Line started doing it afterwards. So we beat Whose Line to that game. I don't know that we were the first, but it is a lot of fun. And when you read people's phones, you learn a lot about them too.
Yes, you do.
Now,
and it can make for some funny bits too, depending on when you insert them in.
It can, yeah.
Now, the crew that you had there on stage, and I'm not sure if that was recent or a year or so ago or whatever, but you guys are very, very smooth as they're reading these texts. I mean, there's a storyline, right? It's a lawyer trying to get some papers for a certain deadline or whatever. And these two actors, improv comedy actors, whatever you want to call them, they're reading those texts, and Whit is kind of the lead on this thing, trying to corral them and the bizarre texts. It's just, I mean, it's beauty, really, seriously, not just because you're here. I enjoyed that very much. So did you sit down beforehand, and do you have basically an outline? I know here we are giving what's behind the curtain with the wizard. But do you basically have an outline for that particular sketch, and then you add the text later, or is that all just total improv?
Yeah, it is total improv. And what we found is that if it's not, it feels like it's not total improv.
Right.
We are not that good of actors to. It's true. It is true. But the other part of it is that, you surprise yourself with some of the things that you say, because if you're getting into a character And I have a new word. I do a podcast, and this word came up yesterday in the interview about attunement, about trying to get into that character, and you are that character because you know it so well. But then you have to play with the twist of reading somebody's lines of dialogue that doesn't have to do at all with getting that brief in on time or whatever the suggestion is, and somehow in the moment justify it and fit it in. And that's where the fun is. It is fun. But if we scripted it, it would be terrible. It would not be beautiful. You would say, why did you post that? Yeah. Take it down.
That is a fun game.
Yeah. You got to see.
What is the translator game? Tell me about that.
Well, the translator game is one that requires somebody who has a high level of physical skill for this game. And we've got a few people in it. The one that you saw is one of the guys that I worked with early on. We, was part of the original 3 that started Fish Sticks. And his name's Dave Rust. And what he does is he acts as a translator interpreter who is, doing through mime and gibberish and facial, not gibberish, facial expressions, trying to interpret what is happening in a talk show. And this one happens to be about alligator wrestling, the one that's on stage. It was at a music festival a few years ago. It's one of my favorites. And just the way you've got to, again, react and do something. That's what the audience wants to see. Just kind of see how your brain works and see how you're connecting things. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Whit Shiller on with us. Go to fishstickscomedy.com. So Whit, let's catch up. You doing more stuff online? Do you see anything opening up in the fall maybe? What's going on with you guys?
Yeah, so we are still doing the online stuff. We have a show tonight for those who are seeing this live on Thursday the 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I think we're planning to continue to do that probably at least through the end of the year on some level.
Okay.
It's hard to know what's the right choice to make in terms of shows. It's a weird thing because numbers are going up. People want to get out. Some people are pretty aggressive about wanting to get out, but there's other people who are pretty aggressive about staying home. And I no judgment there. Just trying to figure it out. And when you're doing stuff on stage, one of the things that I think about, I don't know if this is on I don't think it is on our video page. It might be on one of our Facebook pages, but we did a Christmas sketch. And we were doing something about the story was somebody had burned down their Christmas tree. And there were 2 brothers who were part of this and trying to deal with what happened. Well, apparently I got a little spitty in this one, and it ended up being that the Christmas ham was so salty that it led to this. Well, it just reminded me when we're on stage as performers, we're pretty close to each other,
right?
And we just might get a little a
wow,
little corona-y if
especially if you're spitting on each other. Yeah, that could be dangerous.
Yeah, if you're stand-up and you're in front of a mic, that can happen too, especially some of the more active ones who act out a lot or whatever. But it's one person and they can be separated from the audience to a certain extent. But when it's a team sport, that's a whole different deal, I guess.
So the show tonight, can folks watch that at fishstickscomedy.com or where can they find it?
Yeah, if you go to that and you put or go to the online calendar, you can sign up. It's still as free as you want. So you can throw us a couple bucks or not. We'd rather see your faces than your dollars is our kind of mantra about that. And I'm also feeling like we need to get some of the courses up for people who both want to perform or people who just want to experience improv. Because it's not only fun, but there are some life lessons, and getting together with people that you otherwise wouldn't meet is also part of the joy. So that's not all plotted out, but it's like, if we're going to be down for a while, which is our general expectation,
right,
then I think this is something that we should find a way to do. So if you're funny and you think you got the chops, look for that. if you're not funny, but you want to have fun, we'll figure out a way to take care of you too.
If you think you're funny and you're really not,
then we'll tell you.
Hey, why should you tell me? My teenagers tell me all the time.
Hey.
Well, that's true. They do. They do. And if your teenager tells you that you are funny, I think you can trust that. If they tell you you're not, they just may be in a time where they really just don't care for you.
You're right. You're so right.
We got to go to a break here in a second. I noticed I noticed that on the grid there on the website, our friend Joan DeVivo is right there, kind of in the middle on the grid. Dan, you got to check that out. So
okay,
we're glad that he's a part of Fish Sticks. He doing well?
He is doing well. He is doing well. They're kind of with Crowns. They're kind of figuring out what their schedule is. I don't know what the latest is, but I know they've got dates that are being put out there. There's always a risk that they could get pulled back, of course. But he's been a fun part of it as well. He won't be on tonight because actually tonight all of our performers are women, which we're excited about. That we've got a cast of funny ladies, and that's going to be a fun part of tonight's show.
Okay.
But yeah, Juwan has been just, you have him on. He's just fun to be with, and he's a very funny man.
Whit Shiller,
and a good guy.
Whit Shiller, always a fun time with him. Whit, let's catch up with you in about 6 weeks or so. FishSticksComedy.com. Check out the show tonight. It's all women. And also check out those videos that we were just talking about with audience texts and translator, and there's a whole lot more, and the classes that they offer. So let's
watch out for the meth alligators, okay? While you're out there, watch out for those.
That's right, or whatever's next.
Yeah,
who knows?
We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst,
and I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.